Good morning. My chair's not moving. Hold on. I'm going to have a fight with the chair this morning. Okay. So, I'm going to tell you right away that it's going to be a shorter conscious coffee because my daughter has to be at school by 6:40 my time. And she's got a great big choir stuff going on today, so she's going into all this judging stuff, so she's got to get on a school bus and go off to some other school and sing her little happy butt off. So she's part of the high school choir team and all this different stuff. So she's been singing for years, and they'll do good. They'll do good. So today's topic is going deeper before anything. And going deeper before anything really is that, I've been talking a lot about changes and transformation and growth. And obviously, there's a lot of manifestation stuff that I speak of on Conscious Coffees. And just having finished up the course Feel Good Now, this topic definitely goes well with that class as well. But going deeper means really to honor your own depth as an individual before you try to transform anything fundamentally. So what we do is we tend to set all these intentions, and like at the beginning of the year we set resolutions, and we have all these goals and these things that we want to do. So we line them up on a piece of paper, and then we go to work on them for probably about 2 weeks. We're really on top of it, and then all of a sudden it starts dying down, and then life tends to happen. What happens in there is that our patterns kick in. We are creatures of habit, and as much as I'm always preaching that you can have control over your thoughts and your emotions, the reality is that the majority, like 98% of us, will fall back into our patterns consistently, and not really make the changes that we intend on, that we desire, because those habits are so strongly ingrained in us that it's hard. It's just hard. It takes a lot of focus, it takes a lot of dedication. And one of the easiest, well, not so easy, it's actually very, very difficult. I'm not going to lie to you, it's very difficult. But one of the things that we certainly should do, and I'm not a shoulder, but in this case, this is one of those things that instead of always looking outside as to what you want to have and where you want to take your life and transform your life, but this inside game is one that will take you to levels of self that you're probably a little scared to experience, you're probably a little nervous to experience for sure, but will open up such beauty in your life. And that is going to your depth and really honoring that depth before you try to make those humongous changes outside of yourself, or seemingly large changes outside of yourself. So what I'm speaking of is openness, and I use the term openness a lot. That you need to remain open and fluid, so that you can allow things to come to you. You can allow your blessings to come to you, all this different stuff. But what the heck does that mean, right? It's like, what does open mean? Does it mean that you're basically just like a limp body sitting in a chair meditating all day, or laying on the floor meditating all day? What does open really truly mean? When we speak of having an open body, it starts in our heart, and then it transfers over to our physical body. So to go into the depth of our heart space, excuse me, yawning. It was a rough night, let me tell you. I had a little guy with gas pains or upset stomach or something, and he just kept crying and crying and crying. I was feeding him fennel water and all this different stuff, and he finally passed out. I think it was like 3 o'clock, right when my other little guy decided to wake up and needed mommy really bad. So I've been up and down all night with kids doing the kid things, and I needed to get up. Couldn't be late to conscious coffee this morning, even though I really wanted to. But no, off to school we go. So they're all sleeping good now. But that's why I look like really tired, because I am really tired. There's no hiding it. Anyways, to go into your depth. There you go. There's like going from the heart here. To go into depth really means that we're feeling into that space, because we can consciously feel into our heart space, but to try to predict what we're going to think or feel next week, or even in 30 seconds from now, seriously, you know your patterns have you when you're being reactive to everything that seemingly just manifests in your life, right? These coincidences that happen, they seem like none of it really goes together, but ultimately it does. I mean, normally I'm preaching on how we draw everything into our life, because we do, but we forget that consistently. We forget that, and our day goes on, our week goes on, our month, our year goes on, and we have all of these things that come into our life, and we don't really accept the responsibility for this stuff coming into us. And we're certainly not present enough to consistently go, oh, I did this to myself. So it feels like all this stuff is just coming at us and moving through our life, and then we're just reacting to it here and here and here, and we're just going along with the process, right? So our thoughts come out, they just pop into our head, our emotions rise up, and then we go, whew, and then after the fact, we're like, wow, oh, I see how this went together, I see how that went together. And that's all fine. Catch it where you can. No, but you catch those thoughts, those feelings exactly where they're at, and realize that you're not going to always be able to catch it on the front side because of the patterns, okay? It really is because of those patterns, those habits, and us being creatures of habit. It is with great ease that we jump into our pattern box, and we jump into our habit box, habit of thought, habit of emotion, habit of action. And we just jump in there because it's comfortable, and we believe that we really had no choice to it. But in truth, we do. Take all that to the side. Just say, okay, this shit happens to me, and I feel this, I feel that. I don't know where my feelings are going to be, which is very accurate. You don't know what your thoughts are going to be. You don't know what your feelings are going to be. And if you just move to the side of that, trying to control or be really overly conscious of that, and move into this space of depth, of going into your heart center, and really tapping into what you're feeling here, then you more than likely will be able to access other aspects of self, and you're going to be able to make a humongous shift in your life. So this access point of the heart, of the depth of your heart, it is about openness, and that openness is really nothing more than not being limp, not being just like this putty for whatever. That's not openness. Openness is actually alertness. Openness is a body that is feeling and is alive and alert and exhilarated and just So you're not shut down. That limpness is actually shut down because you're not feeling, you're not going there. So you want to really breathe into this space. And how you do that is to relax into the physical body. Like, notice where you're holding. Are you holding tension in your neck? Are you holding tension around in your chest? Allow yourself just to breathe into that space and really, really feel it. It's kind of like, if you got a really bad cold, or you're sick, and you take that breath, and you know that if you breathe too deep that you're going to start coughing, right? So you can't really get that deep breath, because if you initiate that really deep breath deep inside you end up coughing. So we basically are running around acting like we have a nasty cold all the time. So we're not really breathing into our heart space. We're not really breathing into our bodies. If you breathe into your heart space and you notice where there's constriction, and just soften it just a little bit here and there, soften it. Notice where you're holding tension. Are you holding tension? We hold tension here in our jaws a lot. I swear, I tell people all the time, just open your mouth. And what I mean by that is just dropping your jaw. So if you're sitting still, like right now, if you're sitting still and listening to me, where's your tension at? How are you holding your jaw? Are you really tight-mouthed right now? Like this? Just open your mouth where your teeth are like that, okay? Or just drop your jaw down. Just drop your jaw down and let it relax. Your teeth don't have to remain closed. Your tongue doesn't have to remain perched in any particular way in your mouth. Drop your jaw down and just allow the air to just flow through your nose, down into your chest, and relax. Release this tension there, okay? Because you probably don't even notice that you're doing it. This is one major area that we hold tension, and we hold ourselves in this angst that really affects our whole being, okay? Next, notice what you're doing with your hands. Are your hands open and just relaxed, or are you somehow closing your hands off like this? Also, the whole body aspect, like, do you find yourself doing this a lot? This is a closed off stance. If you're doing this and like closing off like that, try to just remain open. Drop your shoulders down, open up your chest cavity, relax into it. Just relax into the body. And these are all physical things that I'm talking about, as far as like just Michael, good morning, can I call you later? Of course you can call me, Michael. Yes. Later, after 3 later. I'm busy till I think 3. So, okay. But all right, there we go. Business taken care of. I do business on conscious calls. Did you know that? And talk to friends too. So opening up in that physical state, these are physical openings. Now you have that conscious attachment to it, where you need to just relax into that, because you can do all these physical things and still have your heart closed, emotionally speaking. And what we're talking about is actually opening the heart emotionally, going into a deeper level of your own depth, okay? So to honor your true depth here of heart space. And what we do to do that is, number one, you're not going to be able to open up emotionally if you're doing everything physically to close yourself off. So pay attention, number one, to the physical stuff. And then number two, really notice what emotions are coming up in your heart, because as you try to open up your heart space, you might notice that you have fear come up. You might have anxiety come up. There might be sadness. There might be anger. These are all going to be probably more negative emotions at first, because you're scared. Ultimately, you're scared to open. It's scary to open because you could get hurt, is the belief, right? You could get hurt. In truth, to open up your heart, it does not mean that you're going to go and get hurt. We're not talking about emotionally like giving yourself away and connecting to somebody or something that can potentially hurt you. What we're talking about in this space is to simply just open up and experience life. Experience life and let yourself feel it fully, however that moment might be, to feel it fully. Does that make any sense? So it's really just about relaxing in and pushing through that fear. So if you want to transform and grow and have this new whole woo-woo going on outside yourself, it is about opening that constriction, releasing it. Okay, so like a beautiful flower, let it open up. So that flower that as the sun rises, lets petals open and it opens up to the sun. That's what we're doing with that tension around our heart space. Don't expect to go in and say, okay, as soon as I get off of this conscious coffee, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to open my heart. You cannot open your heart, okay? Try this. Try little openings and build on it every single day. If you take this as a practice and you touch base with yourself a couple times throughout the day, you're going to notice that you're going to feel lighter and more open and more receptive by the end of the day by just doing this. And the next part of this is that you're going to have to really realize that you're not focusing in here on your thoughts, on necessarily manifesting anything coming to you. What you are manifesting is that you can open and receive your day. You can open and receive your experience. This is not going to guarantee you a perfect scenario of a day, okay? There's going to be shit that's going to happen, and you're going to have to deal with that shit. How you approach it is what we're talking about here. So what the noticing and the learning and the transformation, we're going to call it here, is that you're going to notice that if something negative happens, that your heart is going to go like this probably, because that is your habit. Okay, that is the pattern, that is the habit, to clamp down and to crunch things and not to constrict in moments of potential pain or suffering that things are that you're not liking. Okay, so really notice that noticing is going to help you remain a little bit more open next time. Okay, so the next time something not so pleasant happens, maybe it's today, the same day, maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's a week from now. But if you notice that sensation of that clamp down, the next time something supposedly negative happens to you from your perception, then you can go, I'm not going to close down all the way. I'm going to actually try to remain open a little bit more here. And that's the goal. The goal is to not shut down with anything that comes at you. It's just to try to remain open. It doesn't mean that your actions are going to be different. That doesn't mean that you're going to, really, your thoughts are going to be different or anything like that. It's just noticing where you close and how hard it is to open. Okay, because you can say, oh, I'm full of love, and oh, I'm an open person, I'm open-minded, I'm open about different things, I'm easygoing, I'm blah, 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 whatever. Your heart is probably clamped because we've all been hurt. So this is just that focusing in on feeling that sensation and revealing yourself, not to anybody else in this moment, except for to yourself. Just to yourself, to feel your openness and to feel your shut. Okay, that clamp. The next step to this, and I know that my time is getting limited, so the next step to this is that you want to, as you're opening your heart, notice that when you're dealing with people, how they might be reacting to you. Because even though you may not be changing your words, changing your actions, you're just going about your day, you're just now trying to do it with a little bit more openness, you're probably going to notice that people are going to react differently to you. And there may be something that comes up inside of you because now you're tapping into your intuition, into your feelings, into these different things that are going on inside of you, which means that your expression of self, your communication, how you're speaking, is actually going to come out differently. So you're going to be dealing with people differently just because you're coming from a more open space. Some people may shut down, and you might feel their shutdown. There might be this energy where you go, okay, that was interesting. I don't know why I felt that, but you're feeling somebody else's shutdown. Notice that it's their shutdown and not your shutdown. Notice how your openness may push people, may open people, all these different things. Do not change your openness because you get this reaction, okay? Because you're going to get that reaction or somebody's going to do something that's going to make you just kind of wonder, like, what the heck was that? Realize that that's their shutdown, that they're not consciously aware of this, okay? You're practicing, they're probably not. So just the noticing, that's all you're doing. Your growth is in the noticing, the growth is in this witnessing. And as you move into that space, you're going to start to notice how that interaction of an open heart affects other people, and how can you remain open when you get these different reactions coming into your life experience. Okay, so let me see. I have a book here. I don't know if I have any. Yeah, I don't see any. I don't see any quotes in it. I'm trying. No quotes this morning. No great quotes in my notebook to go along with this. I kind of pulled this. But anyways, so there's the conscious coffee of the day. Remaining open. So this right here, going to that depth, is going to give you the ability to do the inside work that I'm always talking about. And, I'm always saying it's an inside game. It's an inside game. It's an inside game. This is the biggest inside game that you can tap into and that you can practice, because it's really putting you into alignment with your depth and taking you into a deeper, more expansive space than going outward first, because it is really hard to draw into your life a lot more positive, good things that you're desiring if you're operating from a closed heart space than if you are from an open heart space. Blessings come to the open heart a heck of a lot easier than they do to the closed heart. You're going to have to work harder physically in your actions, and the process is going to take a lot longer if you're remaining constricted, because things are not flowing, okay? The flow is not there. You're really not open to receiving when your heart is closed. So noticing that constriction and opening it up, if just by a little bit, and fighting against that pattern to close, is going to do you a massive amount of good, okay? So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that it gave you guys a little bit of insight and something to work on. And I'd love to hear any of your tales that come from this, noticings and all that good stuff. So as always, feel free to communicate any of that to me. Thank you everybody who popped on bright and early this morning on my on-time conscious coffee for this week. I should woohoo, I made it on time this week. I've been so bad about that. So always, if this touched you at all, just hit the little share button down there. Facebook loves people sharing stuff. It makes, due to the algorithms, it says that, oh, this was valuable, this was worth something. So hit the little share button. Thank you for all your love, and I will catch you guys tomorrow morning with who knows what, because I'm going to Disney on Ice tonight to watch Moana with my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old. So who knows what Moana will stir up for a conscious coffee in the morning. Let me go to Disney on Ice, sleep on that. Look out, guys. Who knows what the lessons are? Maybe it'll be you're welcome. I don't know. If I'm singing Disney songs tomorrow morning, you'll know what happened, okay? So I will catch you then. Bye. Love you guys.